Hey, what's up, everybody? I hope you guys are doing good today. I am doing well. It's your girl, JoJo, and I'm here with a review for Ready to Love, Season 10, Episode 11. That was a guess. I really don't know, but I'll have it right in the description. I actually already recorded this earlier today, got it done, but for some reason, none of the files were coming together. It was just all out of order, so I decided to scratch the whole thing and start over. If I forget anything, it's because I don't have any notes. Normally I watch scene by scene and do my commentary scene by scene, but since I've already watched everything, of course I'm not doing it that way. And I am also at work now, so I have to hurry up and get the review done. And also, I had a little bit of coffee. I just a little bit. So no notes at work and a little bit of coffee. Anything goes, y'all. I can't be responsible for what might happen during this review and what I might say. I'm not responsible. I'm telling you that now. Okay, so we started the episode out with Sierra getting eliminated. We all knew that was going to happen. Sierra doesn't have many strong connections, and I think even Sierra knew. She walked off with stride and said she hopes she gets to meet the one for her, and I hope that for her as well. I think Sierra's a sweet person. Just a little goofy, that's all. So anyway, we get back to the house, and now it is time for combative gate. Who said it? Why was it said? And what are we going to do about it? So we get back in the house, and Janelle, sometimes you could just chill. You don't got to say nothing. She already, right immediately after eliminations, what? Girl, what? So I already knew when they got in the house, it was going to get brought up, and it did. So Chris and Morier sitting beside each other. So Chris is checking in on Morier to see how he is after doing that elimination. And Janelle says, what are we checking on Chris for? We need to be checking on Jessica, don't we? And Chris said, well, we could check on both of them. And she said, oh, okay. She said, well, if you want us to be in our feminine energy, y'all supposed to be covering us, right? So the men is just like, you can tell they getting scared. Like, oh, yeah, I guess if you right. I guess. It's a bunch of mumbling. And when they asked Jessica how she's doing, Jessica's just like, well, I don't know. I don't want to come off combative. And Janelle says, I'm not trying to pick up Jessica's cross, but as a black woman, hearing that word combative after being attacked as much as we are, why would y'all think the use of that word was okay? Foot rubbing Phil was the first person to speak up. Phil said, I didn't say that. It wasn't no we. Okay, if that wasn't the verbiage, I said not the verbiage, Phil. That wasn't the verbiage for everybody. Morier says that he wasn't the one that used the word combative, but it was said. Chris says that it kind of is what it is. Everybody hasn't had the same experiences with everybody, and that's all I got to say about it. And Q also says that wasn't the consensus among the group. So what we're getting from the men is no snitching. It's going to be bros before hoes. We not telling who said what. Jessica want to know who said it. She is determined to get to the bottom of it. She looking around at everybody. Morier actually gets up to leave because Morier felt like he shouldn't be the one to have to tell on nobody, but the person who said it should be able to speak up and say that they said it. So Morier goes off into the other room. Katarina goes to check on Morier. And I want to put a flag right here, a sticky note. Y'all remember this sticky note. I want you to think about Katarina, what she's doing currently, and how she goes about the rest of the episode. And I also want you to think about Lee and how she goes about the rest of this episode. And the reason why I'm telling you to remember that is because I'm coming back to it eventually. Just put a pin in it. Put a bookmark there. We coming back. So Katarina goes to check on Morier. Morier is kind to Karina, but you can tell he doesn't really want to talk. He's good. Man, y'all need to clean up that junky room now. What's going on? Y'all was only there for the weekend. Why y'all got all that stuff strewn about? Fold your stuff and put it back in your luggage. Quit being messy on them bunk beds. So Morier says he's fine. He's doing good. She says that she thinks he did a really good job. He says thank you. And Katarina says in her confessionals, if the consensus is, Jessica, that you are combative, then maybe that's true because you are the common denominator and it seems like more than one person is saying it. Okay. What do I think about it? If you want to know, I'm having a hard time with this episode. you guys know, of course, I'm a black woman. So I'm having a little bit of a hard time with it because I really don't like that certain labels can be slapped on us. I do agree with something that Jessica said later on, that once it's put on you, it's very hard to get off. It is. That's very true. I'm not in a situation like that at work, but I know somebody who's been in a situation like that at work. And because they had one interaction with a certain person, that person kind of conveyed to other people the interaction they had. And after that, everybody moved in fear around her. Even though she only had the interaction with that person, it wasn't with everybody else. And so everybody else kind of tiptoed around her because of what they had heard. So it is very hard to, once somebody puts that on you, it is very hard to come back from it. So I get that part. Do I believe that Jessica is combative? I think Jessica is cold. I do get coldness from her. Combative, I only felt that somewhat when her and Chris did that, what do you call that acting thing that they do? I forgot what it's called. But when they did that role play, I felt like she was a little combative in the scenario because she automatically went into defense mode on it. But I always felt like she just didn't like Chris. She didn't have any kind of respect for him. She wasn't interested in him like that. And I think she was being difficult with him on purpose. I really do. Especially once she found out what he was about. I never got that with her and Morier, so I thought it was specific to Chris. Now, do I think she is combative in her everyday life? I don't know, but I do think she might be cold, and I think she might be standoffish in her everyday life. I do believe that. The person that I think is actually combative on the show would probably be Janelle, honestly. But I know that Jessica sometimes joins in too. If I had to say she was combative with anybody when it comes to the show, I would say I did notice it in the role play with Chris. After that, I did not notice it again. The only other time I noticed it was in the role play with Chris, and then she is combative with other women. Now that I noticed, her and Janelle are combative with other women. So I guess I am saying she's combative. After I did all of that, I guess I am saying she's combative, but I don't think she's combative towards the men. I really don't. I think the combativeness actually comes out with other women, which is unfortunate. But I did have a hard time with this episode. I'm not gonna lie. Just because that label has been slapped amongst myself and plenty of other women I know. So anyway, we move on in the episode. Morier does go have a conversation with Jessica because he felt bad that he said that to her, and he knows he could have said it differently. Jessica is kind of feeling like she doesn't know who she can trust now. She doesn't know if she can trust Morier. And I'm kind of along the lines of thinking, once somebody apologizes to you and they're sincere about it, either you forgive them and move on or you don't. But what you cannot do is, and what I hope Jessica doesn't do, is start moving in a way where she's trying to punish Morier for saying that to her. I do feel like his apology was heartfelt. He did seem sincerely bothered by it. And once I apologize to you, I apologize. You take the time you need to accept it, yes, but don't start treating me bad because of it. Because I did already apologize, and like my friend always say, I can't bleed out for you. All I can do is apologize. So I hope she doesn't start being like standoffish towards him because of it, but we have that to see. She also does have a conversation with Janelle, to which she tells Janelle she doesn't know if she can trust any of the gentlemen at the house. Not even sure really about Morier because she just can't believe that he would say that to her. I think Morier was echoing the sentiments. I really do think more than Chris said it. I'm starting to wonder if it was more than Chris who made the comment, because I don't know. Was Morier trying to address what everybody felt in the room? He said he doesn't feel like that. So I do kind of wonder why he chose to say it, or I don't know. I can't examine Morier's, elimination methods in front of everybody, but that's just what happened. That's what it is. And they've had a discussion about it. Now we have to see what's going to happen with their connection moving forward. So now it's time to go fishing. The gentlemen go fishing. The ladies come out a little later. And we see Q and Lee trying to have a little moment. Lee is one of Q's connections, but she hasn't really been able to get close to Q since Janelle has been there. And who would come out the house but country? I was like, why is she being country? Bae! I said, if you get your country self back in the house and then Q just as country, what's up? Oh, I'm trying to catch us some dinner. I'm trying to catch something for you. I was like, they belong together. Just go on. And he proceeds to hand Lee the fishing rod after Lee done took the fish off the hook. She outdoorsy. She ain't scared to touch the fish or the worm or whatever. He hand her the rod and he go on there to his connection, his main connection, Lee. So that should already let you know what it is when he walked off like that. And Lee is saying that Q is having a hard time balancing his connections. Q ain't having a hard time, baby. He's done balancing. He chose. And you are not the choice. That's what I need you to realize, baby. Okay, I need you to see it clearly. So all hope is not lost. Chris does come outside, and he has bought her a gift. Okay, he has bought her some sandals. He had to pull a few strings, and she was so grateful. She says thank you. I couldn't tell now. My more fashionable girlies. What was it? Was it Gillo Ferragamo? Was it Gucci, Prada? Tory Burch? That's expensive for me, but I couldn't tell what the slides were, but she was very grateful and she was appreciative. And I do feel like those two have a stronger connection than any of their other connections outside of each other. And they also seem to have more in common. But remember, I said bookmark Lee, bookmark Katarina, because I'm coming back to them in just a moment. And no, it's not what you think. I know what y'all thinking I'm going to say. I feel like I know what I think y'all think I'm going to say. But that's probably not what I'm about to say. But like I said, bookmark it because we're going to talk about it. Child, I forgot these people even had a connection. Chris and Aries go outside and do a little archery. This is something that Chris does with his family. He wants to introduce Aries to it. And Aries is caught between a rock and a hard place. She going to have to choose. Aries is going to have to decide, am I going to go with the man who I have fun with and I have a good time with? Or am I going to go with the man who traditionally looks good on paper? That's what she got going on with Chris and Phil right now, just to put it in layman's terms. Chris, I do think on paper, he probably would be the right man for her. Chris even feels like he would be the right man for her. However, I don't know if she feels any chemistry with Chris, if she feels any connection with Chris, or if their values would line up long term. That's what I'm concerned about, because I think Chris sees in Aries what he wants to see right now. I don't think he will respect her for the woman she is down the road. That's just my personal opinion. And then with Phil, we can't really lock down what Phil, career situation is. And ain't nobody got time for that, brother. What is you doing? Okay, what's your talent? What do you do? That's what we need to figure out. And actually, I'm gonna jump to them, right? Since we're already talking about it. Aries and Phil do actually go on a date later on in the episode where she is trying to figure that out. I want to say I applaud Aries for how she worded it. It was very quick, simple, to the point, and it wasn't nobody could take it offensively. She said, look, we're not 23 anymore. Yes, we have fun. Yes, we have a good time. Yes, I love being around you, but what is your situation? I have to make a good decision based on what we got going on now. We got kids. We got more money, more problems. We getting older. Folks is going to be getting sick soon, like your parents and stuff. Are you going to be able to handle the weight of all the things that we got going on? Because we not kids, right? You can't just go with what feel good. You got to go with what's right and what's compatible for you. And honestly, Aries, the answer might be neither one of them. Right? It could possibly be that way. And I understand this would be her, if she would have get married, her third marriage. Nobody wants to do this wrong a third time. Okay. Nobody wants to choose wrong. So I think Aries is really weighing it. And I don't think Phil gave her good, firm answers, even in the conversation that they had at the dinner table. Him bringing up his dad dying and his stepdad dying. Please don't call me mean, y'all. I thought it was a cop-out, because that's not what we talking about. We talking about your situation and are you ready? And I understand that grief can throw you off balance. I understand that sometimes grief can get you off the path of, not grief, but family members being sick can get you off of one path and make you pivot to another path, because you got to make money. I'm working a side hustle now so I can make money. I got a family member that's sick, so I understand that. But I need you to give me some solid answers. If your stuff ain't right now, just be honest with me. You know, I know it's embarrassing. Everybody don't want to always admit that they still trying to find their way or they still trying to bounce back. But I'd rather you be honest than tell me what I want to hear, and then I got to find out something else down the road. Okay, and I just don't think Phil gave her a straightforward answer. What did you guys think when Phil answered the question? And do you think Chris or Phil are compatible with what Aries needs in a relationship right now? All right, so let's get to the second part. Had to take a little break. You know, I really hate that Jessica spent this episode on a witch hunt about this whole combative situation. Like, it makes her look combative that she's searching for the combativeness. You know what I mean? So I really hate that she spent her time doing that when she has a connection with Morier. He doesn't feel that way. But I don't know. She was just sour about it the whole episode. I really hate that, because I think it's going to end up affecting them. But anyway, enough about that. Let's talk about Katarina. Katarina and Morier go on a date. And Morier says this is his first time spending time alone with Katarina. Y'all, it's episode 10 or 11. Like, what are we talking about? This is what I mean. Like, y'all playing in our face. Katarina, I've been saying that you don't really have any connections, but I really do it. You've done an amazing job coming to this point, because I don't think there's anything with her and Morier. But let me tell you something. Because Jessica decided to go on this search and to be salty for the rest of the weekend, I really do think it's going to affect her connections. We'll see next episode. But what I'm hoping, Jessica, is that Katarina hasn't moved up. Not that Morier, not that Gerald Levert Jr. is a prize child, because he ain't never even been in love. But I'm just saying, you may have worked your way out of being the as strong in your connection as you were before, because, you know, you didn't take the time to, y'all know what I'm saying. So anyway, Katarina shows up. I want to know what kind of kinky straight hair that is she has. It's really cute. And they have a good date. I'm still getting friend vibes from the two of them. I am not getting any type of love or romance. I'm just not getting any of that out the two of them. Morier, I think, still does at this point have his eyes set on Jessica. Even though it was a decent date between the two of them, they seem to have a lot in common. They talk about their spirituality. He gives her some stones. One of them was an Amazonite, and I wanted to ask him, where your stones at, Morier, Gerald Levert Jr.? Where your rose quartz? Okay, Mr. I ain't never been in love. Where your love stones at? See, Gerald Levert done been in love before. That's why I got to quit calling you Gerald Levert Jr., because you got the jacket, but you ain't never been in love. And one of my subscribers said, quit disrespecting Gerald like that. So let me stop and just call you Morier. But yeah, you giving out stones. Where your stone for love? Because that's what you need to find. Make sure you have that in your pocket at all times. But they both agree that they want to leave the country one day and live elsewhere and all of that. So their date went well. Sometimes I wonder if Katarina, when she goes on dates, is it a strategy of hers to mold herself specifically to the person she's on a date with, if she likes them? Because sometimes I feel like she gives a little bit of that, like, oh, I like that too, or I want to do that too one day, or I enjoy that, or I understand what you mean, I'm the same way, or my family's the same way. I don't know if she's doing it purposely, but sometimes I wonder. And since we're talking about Katarina, let me go ahead and get to the bookmark that I told you guys to bookmark a couple of minutes ago. So I want to talk about Katarina and Lee and something I noticed. In this episode, and in a few other episodes, I've noticed, but specifically in the house, it's been the most noticeable. Lee is conservative. Lee is pretty. Lee has her own business. Lee is very much in shape. Lee doesn't mind the great outdoors. I saw the way she was handling that fish and that fishing rod, okay? She don't mind getting her hands dirty. She didn't have a party phase like some women have. And you know, to some men, party phase and whole phase are the same. They one and the same. So she didn't do those type of things. She is a different type of woman of a different type of caliber that it seems most men would be attracted to. Then we get over to Katarina. Fun, young, nursing job. I think she said her father was from one of the countries on the continent. I don't know if it was Nigeria, but you know, she's from a different place. And you know, they say if you from a different place, you a woman that was raised better. So that's what they say, y'all. That's what they say. I'm telling you what they say. So, you know, just all of these different things that Katarina has for herself. Very much in shape, beautiful woman, fun. Why does it seem like these two women are doing the chasing, right? I mean, I'm not, maybe not in regards to Chris, but even a little bit with Chris, because Lee wasn't Chris's first choice or second, right? He kind of dwindled down to Lee. I don't remember Lee. I actually didn't see anything with the two of them until this episode. Now, granted, they could have been talking before that, but for the longest, I thought it was Q and Lee were each other's only connections, right? But it seems like these two are kind of having to find people, to connect with, and they seem to be doing a little bit of the pursuing, even though they seemingly have all the qualities that the people say that they would want in a woman. But as you can see, the ones that are labeled combative, toxic, or mean, maybe even doing too much, outside of Aries, seem to have their connections fairly locked in. I thought it was very interesting, but I often say that the very sweet, sugary spice women, I will be there, I'm a rider for my man, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, for whatever reason, they do not get chosen like that. I firmly believe, and this is just from what I've seen, and I know y'all going to say, that's boys, that's not men. Okay. I have seen men who are good, that I see as pretty good men, stable, go after women who are, just, why are you even doing this, sir? Like, this is going to be a headache. But they seemingly enjoy it. They seemingly like the chase. And any woman that makes it a little bit too easy, they do not want her. I've seen it time and time again. I myself was the type of woman who was more like, I'm going to go along with your program. As soon as I started telling men I don't want nothing, don't come over here, I don't like you, I'm probably not even going to respect you like the way you want to be respected, baby. I can't keep them off me, and I can't keep them off my line. And that kind of stuff right there gives me pause. It makes me look like, what kind of time warp am I living in? I often tell my friends, it seems like everybody wants the person that don't want them. You don't want to like who likes you. But anyway, that was just something I noticed out of the two of those women. So their date is still stuck in the friend zone to me, but we'll see what happens next episode. What did you guys think about their date? Do you see them forming any stronger connections? All right. So I feel like I'm missing a date. I already talked about feeling Aries. I talked about their date. Oh, Q and Janelle go on a date. Very inconsequential. We know the two like each other. They talk about conflict resolution. I think Q is scared of Janelle. That's why he keep asking those kind of questions. Janelle said it's all good. Just let me get an example so I can know that holds me accountable. She asks Q certain things that he needs in a relationship. He wants somebody to show that they love him. Say it. Like, I noticed that I was doing all these things in my last relationship and it wasn't being reciprocated, and nobody was really telling me how they felt about me. So he needs that. Janelle openly admits that she's been told in the past she wasn't affectionate, but she ain't heard that lately. Have you not heard it lately because you ain't been in a relationship or what? Or have you changed? Q, I ain't saving you from, listen, do what you want to do, Derrick Jackson Jr. I ain't got time. So he gonna do what he want to do when it come to Janelle, and we gonna see how that turns out by the time we get to the reunion. I've been wrong before, so I ain't even gonna say nothing. I'm gonna just say we'll see how it goes. We move into, I feel like I'm forgetting something, but if I am, then, charge it to my mind, not my heart. I think that's how I go in church. We move to elimination time. The ladies are going to meet up to deliberate. Everybody look beautiful, child. Jessica brings up, well, first everybody talks about what went well, right? Now we have to talk about what our issues are. Q was brought up as somebody that nobody's connected with yet. I think Moria was brought up by one person. But of course, the main thing is this whole combative issue. It gets brought up again. Aries and Lee say to Jessica that Chris told them that he didn't say that about her. Roll that beautiful beam footage, because even I had to roll it back to the last episode. And he said we had a combative situation. So maybe he didn't slap the label completely on her, but he did say the word. He did bring it up, and it was in reference to their situation. Okay. So Jessica is just like, well, of course he's not going to tell y'all that, but I do believe that he did say it. And she feels like it's cowardly of him. She calls him a coward not to say it right then and there when they were all together. Aries kind of didn't approach it again like that, but Lee did approach it again because Jessica made a comment. She was like, okay, maybe because he didn't buy me nothing, or maybe because he didn't. And Lee was just like, wait a minute, was that shade towards me? It was absolutely shade towards you. I don't know why Jessica was trying to make it seem like, that's what I'm saying. She can get combative, but it's usually with the women. Don't try to make it seem like it wasn't shade. Yes, it was. Like, don't you be cowardly after you done accused other people of being cowardly. You were trying to be shady towards her, but I really think it's because you wanted Lee to stay out of it. And I get it. I understand. I would have wanted her to stay out of it too. However, you guys are in the midst of a deliberation and everybody does have the right to speak their piece. What I would have turned around and told Lee is, you are absolutely right. He had a experience with me that was less than favorable. He felt like I was combative. We are not compatible, and he decided to move on. But I'm telling you that I had an experience with him that was not the experience you had. So you have different experiences with different people, and my experience with him wasn't favorable. He's not the man to me that he was to you. And I think that's what she meant by, well, he ain't bought me nothing, but it did come off as shady. It did. So just say that. Just say, okay, everybody does have a different experience. And I'm telling you, my experience with him wasn't good, wasn't favorable. And I do think he said that about me. And leave it alone. But they kind of gotten a little something. It didn't blow completely up, but I just wish it wouldn't have happened at all, because it did make her look that way. It did actually make her look combative in that moment. I just hate it. I wish she would have dropped it and focused on her connection with Morier, honestly. But the last thing I'm going to say is this. Anytime if a woman gives her opinion and it differs from yours, and she's strong in her opinion, that does not make her combative. It just means she has a different opinion from you. And I think Jessica was very strong in her opinion when it came to Chris. And it just wasn't soft enough for him. You know, he liked a softer side of a woman. Okay, cool. Y'all, like you said, y'all just wasn't compatible. But yeah, that whole deliberation scene just was, it was just bad. So we get to who are the bottom two, and that's Morier and Chris. I don't know why they let Jessica be the one to tell Chris. I don't think they should have done that. I think they should have sent someone else to do it. They should have reversed it. Jessica should have talked to Morier, and Aries should have talked to Chris, because they already have rapport with each of them. I felt like that was production's way of letting Jessica get back with Chris. And I can't say that I was mad, because Chris, baby, are you okay? Maybe it was edited weird, but Jessica told him the ladies met. She does bring up the combative situation. She does tell him she thinks that he said it and he brought it up. Chris says that, look, at the end of the day, we just weren't compatible. And I feel like once I, moved along with you, that's what you really were irritated about it. Like, I moved on, and he almost was making it seem like when I moved on to my other connections because I didn't like you like that, then I feel like you trying to make it a big deal. She's not trying to make that a big deal, but she is making the combative thing a big deal. And like I said, I wanted Jessica to let it go, because he's not going to cop to it. It's like the, thought job all over again. Like, it's never, y'all aren't going to agree on it. So I wasn't expecting what happened next, though. All right. After she expresses that she didn't appreciate it, and that the only combative situation she really had with anyone, if she had to call one, was with him. Nobody else felt that way about her. She lets him know that the ladies feel like he is not ready to love. And Chris, I guess he felt it was the time to let it all out. So, he tells Jessica that she is mean. I feel like you are combative. And he told her that she was mean. And then Jessica sat there and was like, I feel like you're upset about something. Are you okay? Like, she was very calm and very collected, which pissed him off even more. She's drinking her wine and she's just like, oh, and that's when he just keep going on like, you mad and you mean and you this. And then he was like, F you and F everybody. Did he say everybody, F everybody that know her? All I know is he said, F you and F everybody else around you, or something else to those terms. He said in his confessionals that he thought both Janelle and Jessica were very combative women. And then, y'all, he started getting puffy like he about to cry. I said, y'all, listen, I get it. I understand that we can't always control what might happen, y'all, but that's a red, when men do that, I'm sorry, that makes me nervous, because he was turning up. And unless the scene was edited weird, nobody was giving him that energy in return. So now when the women do it, we tell them they did too much when they get to crying and carrying on during the confessional. So Chris, I'm gonna have to treat you just like I treat the girls. Go on, baby. You gonna be all right. Okay, cry your tears. But they said you wasn't ready to love. And that's just it. But honey, the way he went in, I was like, I don't know, y'all. I think Dr. Jekyll had jumped out real fast. Oh, shoot. I was not prepared for that, y'all. I was not prepared for none of that. Y'all let me know what y'all thought. Like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see y'all for the next one. Ciao.